Will AI, sometime in the near future, replace both psychiatrists, psychologists, and spiritual leaders?
Who will be replaced by AI? Not me for sure. This may wipe out all the pundits, priests, and it's a damn good thing.
AI won't replace people in general, but people enabled by AI or boosted by AI will replace people who are not enabled or boosted by AI.
Any doctor who can be replaced by a computer should be. No doctor I've ever known has been replaced by a computer.
I think it's a cautionary tale. The idea that technology is going to solve our problems is, I think, one of the great myths.
Why I don't think AI is going to replace everybody is, we're humans. We use our five senses. It is not the same experience to be touched by a human.
AI should not be like a runaway horse.
Once it starts writing its own language, both the horse and the rider will be AI. Those who are agile will ride it, those who are not will be crushed by it.
What might happen to the mental health of people?
What effect will ultra-processed information have on mind? Multiplication of desires, the attention deficit becoming worse?
I'm concerned about the decline in critical thinking skills.
Yes.
This is a bigger problem than just ChatGPT or social media. AI is not the problem. The compulsive nature of the human beings who are sitting here is the problem. This human software collapsing and hardware collapsing in another 25 to 40 years' time is an inevitable trajectory we have taken unless we do something serious.
So my question to you, which could be a provocative one, will AI, sometime in the near future, replace both psychiatrists, psychologists, and spiritual leaders? So, this is the question.
I think when I was doing my clinical informatics training at Beth Israel, there was a very famous doctor called Dr. Warner Slack. He unfortunately passed away. But Warner Slack was one of the first physicians at Beth Israel to be working on electronic medical records in the 70s and 80s. And he had a very famous quote. He said, "Any doctor who can be replaced by a computer should be." And of course, no doctor I've ever known has been replaced by a computer. But I think what he was telling us with that is we're going to have to evolve what the practice of medicine, psychiatry, spirituality is. We're going to figure out ways to hopefully, in a good sense, reach more people, improve the quality of care. And I always like to think, what if we actually could do preventative care? So many times I was on call last night and I got calls all night from the residents saying, this person's in an emergency room, this happened, this happened. We never talked last night about what could have stopped those things happening. We were literally just dealing with a triage of how to stop the emergency. So in some ways you could say we've always wanted to do more, at least in the mental health field. We've never felt that we had the resources. We know that we're never going to have the funding. So maybe we move the field towards prevention. We open up these areas we don't want to do. Vikram has been doing this leading work in global health. Maybe this turbocharges what Vikram is doing. As we heard, maybe people can experience spirituality in the way they want to do it. Maybe we can increase these suicide prevention efforts that reach billions of people in a way. So I think if we look at it in the optimistic sense, we could harness it. But I think the caveat there is that means all of us have to be engaged in what's happening. We can't let the technology companies, and again, they don't wake up and want to cause harm, but we can't say OpenAI gets to pick what is a mental illness or not now. Google gets to pick what is spirituality. Apple gets to pick what is suicide prevention. That's a tricky slope. So I think as long as we as a collective can stay up to date and have a voice in it, I think we can shape it. I think the biggest danger is if we say, it's too powerful, we give up, they know what's going to happen, we really do forfeit a lot. And again, as we saw from the clock example, these are not all-knowing agents. They're good at imitation. So I think it's more a call that if we get involved and engaged, we can shape it for the better. If we don't,
Thank you. I'm sure others have thoughts on the same topic.
Well, thanks. You know, I completely agree with John. First of all, a cautionary tale. I remember, and John was probably too young to remember, not that long ago when we were told the arrival of smartphones and the digital apps for mental health would replace the therapist. Well, I don't need to really speak about how successful that prediction was. And so I think it's a cautionary tale. The idea that technology is going to solve our problems is, I think, one of the great myths that has been perpetuated by the technology industry for its own good reason. And secondly, I think it also, the other reason why I don't think AI will ever replace, I think it will have a role. And I think the question isn't whether or not you use AI, it's the question is how you use it responsibly in a way that is actually achieving a public good. That, I think, is the fundamental question without doing harm. But the reason why I don't think AI will replace the physician, the nurse, the community health worker, the priest, is because the interpersonal connection between the person who is needing help and the person who's providing help is actually central to the process of healing. And I do not believe that anyone can be fooled that long. No matter how smart your large language model is, I don't think the average person is unaware that they're actually interacting with a machine.
Thank you, Vikram. I'm sure the spiritual leaders would have a different perspective on this.
What Dr. Patel just said, that reminds me, there was a time when it was predicted that teachers would be replaced by computers. Mm-hmm. Long before that, teachers would be replaced by the advent of television. And we know that didn't happen at all, nor by computers. And it's sort of parallel to what is being predicted now. Yeah, I was speaking to what you just said and what John just said. I am reminded of this story of the man on a horse galloping through a village. And the person asks, "Sir, where are you going?" And he says, "I don't know, ask the horse." So the AI should not be like a runaway horse. I mean, I'm just saying what John was just saying, that, you know, we should be engaged in the development, use, and what kind of AI and to what extent we are using it and who is using it. I think what will happen is, in all professions, not just psychiatry, and in all professions, it's AI won't replace people in general, but people enabled by AI or boosted by AI will replace people who are not enabled or boosted by AI. That to some extent can happen.
Thank you. I really appreciate the optimism of all three of you. You know, this is in the context of a number of people like Jeffrey Hinton who have said there is a 10% chance of human extinction with AI and so forth. But it's great to hear this optimism in this field.
AI should not be seen for the way it is right now. It's in its infancy. A time will come when both the rider and the horse will be AI. It's not just the rider. That's not far away. Maybe 15 years, 25 years. And about, can we manage this? See, every time a new technology comes, always everybody thought that's going to rule everything. But we made laws, understood the norms and tried to adjust ourselves. The issue or the possibility of AI is, it moves so rapidly, no legislature will move fast enough. No social structure will move fast enough to make any corrections. Not even no individual human being may move fast enough to adapt to that. It will move that rapidly. Once it starts writing its own language, both the horse and the rider will be AI. So will it go out of control and do something? See, every technology has caused some harm to us and brought some benefit to us. This is the same thing. Maybe because it happens so rapidly, within the span of few years, people are a bit terrified about it. Things have happened to us. Somebody invented a coal engine, we've all inhaled this smoke and millions have died. You and me are sitting here, so we think coal engine is okay, but millions died. So similarly, this will also do things. Every technology does that. It's just that it allows you enough time. This one won't you allow time. In your lifetime, it may change significantly 10 to 20 times in one generation's time. So, that is the alarm bell, but I feel new possibilities cannot be stopped. Those who are agile will ride it, those who are not will be crushed by it. That's about the way everything has happened. But here it looks more cruel because in our own lifetime, within few years it's going to happen, or months it can happen. That's the thing. About who will be replaced by AI? Not me for sure. So I'm welcoming this because this may wipe out all the pundits, priests, anybody who reads 10 books, assimilates and finds expression to that information. Data, process and expression, all those will be wiped out and it's a damn good thing. Because we've been running the world like this, if you read 3 books, you become a school teacher and mess up the next generation. If you read 10 books, you become a professor and bore the hell out of people. If you read 1 book, you become an agent of God. This needs to stop somewhere, hello? You just read 1 book and you become God's agent. I think this needs to stop. You want to read that 1 book, AI will give you 10 versions of the same book, okay? I think it's very good. Not me because I didn't read anything, I'm okay. And if they replace me, I'm so happy. I'm waiting for that.
Thank you so much, Sadhguruji, for your reassurance that you cannot be replaced.
No, I wish I was, because people ask me, Sadhguru, what's your dream? I said, I would like to be unemployed.
But for the rest of us who could be replaced, I think this is where, again, a benchmark doesn't protect us, but at least it tells us how quickly it's moving. And if you can quantify it, again, the benchmark will never be perfect. But I'd like to at least know how quickly it's moving and not have to rely on someone else to tell me. And that's where, again, the clock benchmark is ridiculous. But each day I can upload a clock to OpenAI and see how it does. And I do think for issues around spiritual or consciousness, we can at least track what it's doing. And it doesn't mean we can stop it, but at least we can know where we are and how much time we have. And so at least the discussion becomes based on what's really happening, because sometimes at this point, no one's reading any book, right? They're even asking AI, when will you take over? So I think we have to at least have a little bit of quantification of where it is, because in some cases it may be too far, it may be too slow, but we have so little to guide us, and that part is concerning.
If I can add to that, see, right now we are thinking in terms of medical care, a doctor's hand, and this cannot be replaced. I don't think so. See, my father was a physician. As a child, I observed, he put somebody on the table, this, and he says, okay, what is wrong with you? It always amazed me. And I went and touched a tree and tried to find out what's happening with the tree, what's happening with the dog, like this. But today, for almost everything, the doctor is depending on the diagnostic machine. He's not going by his own physical examination. He's depending on a diagnostic machine, so already what the machine says everybody is doing. Only this one guy has to change. You need a human face and a human hand. Well, we can create the same texture, we can create the same kind of person, and ultimately when it comes to your health, there are certain people who are looking for lovey-dovey treatment. Most other people want competent diagnosis and treatment.
Thank you, Sadhguruji. Shirley, we'd like to hear from you. You showed the very interesting observation that youngsters, when asked about what they would prefer, they preferred mindfulness over positivity. So what is that telling us? The importance of instilling mindfulness training and principles in high school or even middle school itself. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So the graph was that the teens in my study preferred mindfulness over gratitude or savoring. As I mentioned, gratitude is easy to understand. Teenagers don't like to feel grateful. But I think savoring was a little bit of a surprise, I think, to me and to all of us. I think that it says something about the power of mindfulness and just being still and how accessible those practices are. So I think it's very inherent, very intuitive. And, in terms of the second part of the question about widespread availability, there's actually been some studies that have shown that that's actually backfired. That doing mindfulness in schools actually is not effective or is not as effective as other interventions. I suspect that it has to do with personal practice, that you have to do something, do it in the way that fits your lifestyle, your needs, what's feasible for you. I think that sometimes when things are introduced in schools to teens, it becomes another thing that a child feels like they have to do, right? And often it's not done well. And that's why in the intervention, I always start with, let's try different ways and let's find out what works for you, because often it's not introduced very well. So I think that's the downside of doing things potentially large scale. I think it can be good, but it has to be done really well.
Other thoughts? And this is a very important problem because it's the future that we should be thinking about in this current day and age. With such a rapidly changing social situation and the risk of mental health pandemics emerging and so on, what's the best approach? Please, all of you weigh in on what's the best recipe for the future generations of people, the Gen Z people? What should be,
Let me just add on to my response to and it dovetails with what we talked about with AI. I do think that there will be a swing towards personalization. That we are so tired of just mass marketing and things that are tailored to everybody, which for efficiency. But I do think that why I don't think AI is going to replace everybody is we're humans. We use our five senses. Yep. It is not the same experience to be touched by a human. Or to go to share a meal with a human is not the same as going out reading a book or looking at your phone. We use all of our senses, and I think that I suspect that there will be a bigger swing towards the importance of individual personalization, whether that's in treatment or just the value of that relationship.
It's such an important point, also made by Abraham Verghese in his recent commencement address at Harvard, the power of the human touch, which we'll have to preserve in this era of expanding technology. The human touch might be going away. Yes,
so I just wanted to also, follow on from what Shirley said about personalization. I completely agree with her. I think the challenge really lies in the biomedical paradigm, Keshavan. The way we conduct science is around a specific intervention for a specific diagnosis. This is a fundamental problem in the mental health care system because mental health problems, as John showed, are extremely nebulous, they're amorphous, there is no clear distinction between these diagnoses, and they presume a single line of causation for every individual with that diagnosis, even though all of us know as practitioners that that is completely false, that each of us carries a range of different reasons and experiences that might explain my mental health as opposed to yours. And so person-centeredness is, unfortunately, actually at loggerheads, not just with AI, actually with the way the biomedical enterprise particularly in mental health, is practiced. So it does require some reflection on how we go to person-centeredness. To your other point about the mental health crisis, I don't think we're going to ever achieve a resolution of that crisis just by treatment. So whereas person-centered care is very valuable, no matter how much person-centered care we do, in no area of medicine have we ever reduced the burden of conditions by treating people. We've done it by prevention. The best example in modern times is lung cancer. If it's vanishing in most parts of the world, it's not because of lung cancer surgery, it's because, of course, smoking reduction. And so I think the question for the profession is what are the kinds of alliances we can make, because the profession does not have the solutions for prevention. How can we ally with, for example, spiritual practices, with social services, with those kinds of sectors that interface with childhood and adolescence and schools, for example? What can we do together collaboratively to actually address the root causes of mental health problems?
Thank you. I think it's a very important tension in the field, if you will. You point to the importance of person-centered therapy across all of medicine, which I completely agree. But does that have to be at an exclusion of precision medicine and personalized medicine? To give you an example, if there is a patient with psychosis that presents to us, does not any kind of psychosis, but related to an NMDA receptor antibody dysfunction. That person does require a precision treatment of an antibody treatment. But the person might refuse it because he's a Jehovah's Witness. He doesn't want a blood product. So there comes the person-centered medicine. So I'd like to figure out an alternative treatment, but still that targets the pathology. So what I'm arguing is that a person-centered and a personalized precision treatment, they both have to go hand in hand rather than a either-or distinction.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there's an intersection, but I think also there is something about person-centered medicine that will never be addressed by personalized care. For example, addressing someone's social and spiritual needs. It doesn't fall within the biomedical paradigm of causation. A biomedical paradigm of causation assumes that all health is produced within our body. And certainly this is not true for mental health problems. And I think, therefore, if the personalized system could find a way to incorporate social interventions, such as, for example, addressing loneliness or spiritual needs, then yes, maybe the two will overlap a lot. But as long as personalized medicine, to my knowledge, remains focused on biological mechanisms, I feel that we will be missing a huge part of what person-centeredness is.
If I can, please.
Other thoughts? Yes, please.
So in 100 people, if 2%, 3%, 5% are sick, you can call them patients. When 18–20% are sick, it's a phenomenon. You can't handle a phenomenon with therapy or treatment. A phenomenon needs to be addressed differently. So can we sociologically address that? No, we're too disparate. And we are democratic nations where nobody takes instructions from anybody. All right? You can't tell everybody, all of you meditate, all of you do this. It's not possible. It's their choice. Somebody prefers to smoke, somebody prefers to drink, somebody prefers to drug. You can't stop that. You're not going to change that, I'm saying. So the only fundamental thing that we could do is bring an enormous wave of awareness that most fundamental thing is, people are thinking health happens or ill health happens to them because of bad luck or God is not with them or whatever. No, your health, physical and mental health is 100% your responsibility. One needs to understand, both physical and mental health comes from within because ill health also is manufactured. If it's an infection, that's different, it's an invasion from outside, you have to go to the doctor and deal with it. But what you're manufacturing in the body either physical ailment or mental ailment. If you don't understand what comes from within is your making, then you will be in endless therapy, endless treatment. You will never… even if you produce that many psychiatrists, you can't build that much furniture.
So we could… Swamiji, do you have anything?
I was just thinking, Dr. Patel mentioned smoking and the reduction in the incidence of smoking and reduction in the incidence of lung cancer. You can clearly see the correlation. What will the effect of AI be? Will it be something like that? Like there will be a major impact on our mental health? I heard a psychiatrist saying that we all know as doctors what effect ultra-processed foods have had on the human body in the last few generations. What effect will ultra-processed information have on mind, especially of children, those who are learning right now? I'm not very sure. Recently in a conference, somebody asked me, as a spiritual teacher, what are the areas of concern that AI could? And I was thinking about it, and I remembered I had answered the same question about a year ago, and I'd forgotten what the points I raised were. So I asked AI, what did I say? But then AI told me immediately, this is what you said. And so anyway, these are the three areas, I'm just raising them. What harm it can cause, especially from the spiritual perspective. One is multiplication, very fast multiplication of desires. That's what AI is going to be used for anyway. It's already being used for that. As you said, personalized. They're going to personalize marketing, all these big companies, to sell more and more, and they'll use AI to target down to the granular level, to the individual. So that's one problem. Further multiplication of desires, as if we don't have that problem already. Second, the attention deficit. Already social media is creating this problem, this havoc, and AI will only exacerbate this problem, make it much worse. Third is more philosophical. The AI idea of what we are, a human being, is very different from as a spiritual idea of what we are. From the AI perspective, we are a bundle of behaviors, a bundle of our language, our behavior, our desires. That bundle is what AI is interested in. AI has no conception of ourselves as consciousness, as feeling beings, as beings with some higher purpose. None of that. And so if AI becomes pervasive, that idea, a competing idea of a human being, that's a more philosophical problem. So these are three issues: multiplication of desires, the attention deficit becoming worse, and philosophically, are we going to shift? Yes.
Can I add a fourth one? I'm concerned about the decline in critical thinking skills.
Yes.
Because I think that people are just relying on AI.
They won't be able to add 2 + 2 in another 10 years.
Right.
So that raises a question in my mind. AI is, after all, algorithms that we create, right? So question maybe John can take on is, couldn't the AI developers build sufficient guardrails so that, the systems would encourage not a hedonistic thinking of, pushing more and more things so that, you like or dislike, and people get addicted to likes and so on, versus is it possible to move these algorithms towards something that is much more eudaimonic? I think Shirley made the distinction of immediate pleasures versus the more long-lasting contentment-oriented, responses. And isn't AI capable? Can it not be rewritten in that way?
That's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Okay? So let's understand, every aspect of life, whether it is food, medicine, technology, everything is driven by commercial forces. You tell them, you drive it in such a way that you don't make profit, the guy will get buried. Can somebody run a company without making enough profit? He'll get buried. The whole system, you're talking against the fundamental capitalism as a system. It's not going to work like that. I'm saying changing sociological situations, and we are thinking AI is the problem. AI is not the problem. The compulsive nature of the human beings who are sitting here is the problem. So why are we not addressing that? Why aren't people more conscious? Why are they so compulsive that if you give them food, they don't know when to stop? If you give them drink, they don't know when to stop. If you give them a phone, they don't know when to stop. God damn it, where is the problem? Every convenience that comes to you, you make a curse out of it.
If I can…
Absolutely, yes.
If I can add to that, but the thing is, the app which Dr. Bala just spoke about, that was interesting. It made me think, it's a powerful technology. The more subtle a thing is, the more powerful it is. And now you can leverage that for example, to get the same people who are addicted to the phone, you are getting a meditation app there. That's something. I mean, that's not everything.
No, I'm saying…
That's a beginning, yeah.
Technology is the greatest possibility in our lives, which has enhanced our lives in such ways that people could not imagine. Even 25 years ago, not even in imagination, it was there. And we are complaining about it, I can't believe it. It's the idiots who are compulsive, you give them anything, they will mess themselves up. I think technology should run free. People should we must make people conscious enough to use everything the way it's good for them.
John, did you have anything to add to that?
It's a relevant point because people in the news will always say, I've built a new mental health AI, but because it's so expensive to build a foundational AI model that knows how to have conversation, they're often relying on one of the big models that say cost $1 billion to build. So I always worry when someone says, I have a brand new AI, I go, well, you introduce all your biases on top of this baseline model like ChatGPT or Gemini. So you actually have two things to worry about, is it working well or not? So I think until we really, again, we may never see the baseline models become good enough that they aren't trying to take our attention. But anytime someone says, my mental health AI is better, I've trained out these horrible things in it, you go, but you're using $1 billion model from someone else, and you're putting your own wrapper around it. So I do think we have to be very cautious when someone says, I have a new mental health AI, and put it to the most rigorous test. And as you saw, we don't have that evidence. So I think we have to be skeptical.
I would say right now is not the real danger, because it's just a matter of 4 or 5 large companies doing this. In another 15 to 20 years, you can run your own AI model from your home. That's when the real problem is, okay? People will run all kinds of things. But for that, the only solution is there is a smarter humanity to make use of that, not suffer that. So we, instead of preparing human beings to be able to make use of the technology, we are seeing how to cripple the technology. I don't think it's a good way forward.
I'm sure there are some burning questions from the audience that we might want to take at this point. So please come to a mic and… yeah.
So I want to ask a question about healing. There was an incident that was reported in the media by you that was like you healed your fracture in an hour. So my question is…
Don't break your leg, that's my advice.
No. So the thing is, can I use consciousness as a modality to heal?
Oh.
And if we do that, what would be…
No, you asked a question, let me do the answer.
Yep, sure, sir.
Well, consciousness is a fundamental reality. Only because you're conscious, you started the question, but the question carries you away in such a way, we may not be very conscious. No, I'm not trying to… Please understand this, with every activity, this is the same thing. People start eating, when they start, they're conscious. As they start eating, they become unconscious and they don't know where to stop, what to do, what not to do. So this is happening with every aspect of life. If your spine is in trouble, you have some kind of malignant situation in the thing, please go to the doctor, don't try to heal yourself. Well, you may be healed and dead. Don't do that to yourself. Too many people have done that. Does it mean to say there is nothing within you which can heal? Yes, it can. When you're well, you can make sure you don't get sick. There are many ways to do that. But once something has gone wrong, it's best it is tended to the best possible way. If it's a chronic thing, maybe you can try to do it yourself. If it doesn't work, you can go to alternative systems. But if it is something that your life is in danger, please go to a good doctor and see how it can be fixed. Doctors will fix you and damage you. I'm saying the nature of the treatment is whether it's surgery or chemotherapy, whatever they do, they'll fix you, but they also damage you a little bit. To fix that damage, you can do it with your own healing and stuff. But when your life is in danger, just gardening won't help.
Namaskaram. I just want to know, I was just curious about this. Human evolution and technology evolution has been happening over many centuries, right from stone tools to say technology, calculator, computer, now AI. Humans have always evolved. Charles Darwin said survival of the fittest, and human beings started going on wars. Now do you think consciousness is the solution to increase human potential? Like align with your true self and offer your nature as work to improve your potential.
Well, who is the question for, please?
Like all of you.
In computer science, there's a law called Moore's law, and it's the evolution of computer chips. It says every 2 years they seem to double, and so far that has held true. We always wonder how can computers become faster and more powerful, and it seems for now that there is a kind of doubling of computing power, and that is why AI has been possible. It takes a lot of computing power, a lot of energy for it to say hello to us and do basic things. So on the evolution part, it is evolving quicker, and if you look up Moore's law, that will give you the evolution of technology in it, and I think that is why it unlocks potentials we don't see today. It almost feels like magic that computing can keep doubling, and we can have, again, these smartphones in our pockets that were impossible. I won't speak to human evolution, that's not my specialty in it, but I wouldn't bet against technology evolution and Moore's law.
There were a few other questions from the audience.
So
We'll take
mental
two more,
health,
and then I have some questions, and we'll keep going back to the audience.
so I have a question in the balcony here.
Oh, in the balcony, yeah.
Mental health in the workplace is critical as we spend so much of our lives at work. So my question regarding this is, have researchers and organizations, how can we partner better with insurance companies whose incentives are aligned with preventative care, like the Miracle of Mind app? Have we considered partnering with them, because that can unlock a source of funding that will then give incentives to the employees and the Gen Z children of those employees to practice regularly and get discounts on their insurance premiums and so on. So has this been explored in your research or your practices, and what learnings and opportunities have been discovered? So I'm very interested in that.
Yeah, thank you for that important question. Any of you, please take that on.
I think John's serving on the
John.
FDA, so he can speak.
Do people remember that paperclip that Microsoft had, Clippy? And how annoying it was? And it would induce anxiety when it came up. He said, just please go away, Clippy, I'm trying to do work. And I said, I'd love to help you. I do fear that we have to put technology in some places and not places. And again, employers, if they have data we don't want them to have, they're going to use it, even if we don't think they will. So there is a risk if we tell employers, you can now measure every keystroke that John does all the time. There may be potential cost savings for employers, maybe data, but I think the privacy risks and the use for abuse if employers get that data is very high. In the US, there are very good laws that separate out mental health treatment from what your employer knows about it. So again, there are benefits, but I think if we begin to blur those lines, we have to protect against all those potential risks very quickly of what could happen in the technology. It's not to say Apple likely collects a lot of data because we use Apple products. Google collects data because we use Google products. Microsoft does too. But if you notice, those companies have been very careful to say they're not using that data explicitly for mental health because it would create some very interesting legal dilemmas at this point. So it may happen, but I think the protections would have to be in place or the legal frameworks, and they're not there today.
I'll just add something real quick. In the US, I think we're the only system in which our insurance-based care is so integrally tied to work, and that's not of benefit to most people, right? So I think actually that we need to decouple that before we can really enact some of the suggestions about having insurance companies. I think currently there are wellness plans. I don't know about the effectiveness of them, but that is my concern, is that we have bigger problems with our insurance system.
A culture of health where shifting the society from right to be sick to your business to be healthy has to happen. Otherwise, everything will work against us.
Other questions from the audience? There is one from here.
Hi, I'm just curious as to what you all think about the energy consumption of AI and how it impacts the planet and in turn will impact us.
We've forgotten about that.
The UK regulators, the equivalent of the FDA in the United Kingdom is the MHRA, and they did put out a kind of risk assessment of potential harms of AI, and they did include global warming on one spectrum of it. I think there's so many potential risks from global warming to nuclear war to attention. It's hard to almost quantify them all in it, but I think as we begin to measure it more and bring it up, it's a true risk. And again, it just doesn't get enough attention. But I think this is where, again, we have to show people what that energy consumption is. I imagine when you book an airline ticket now, it actually does tell you what the carbon footprint is. We may have to get to a point where AI says, here's what that is. Or if you're going to upload a 10,000-page book for me to read, that's going to have a huge carbon footprint. Do you want to do it? But I think, again, if you can't quantify it and show people, it's easy to put out of mind. But there's no reason you can't tell people exactly what that costs in this age. So I think it'll get more attention, and some regulators are aware of it. I don't know if the FDA is or is not.
About your concern, if you've been up to date with the news, right now all the major nations are busy breaking all the Arctic ice. Have you seen this? One against the other in competition, they're breaking it up. All these years, melting ice in the Arctic has been a kind of a barometer for us to see what's happening, but now we're breaking it up so that we can't even watch it anymore. In a big way, in a massive way, it's happening. It's part of national security for everybody. I don't know why everybody's so insecure. And about the data centers, which inevitably have to come up. Well, I wrote a small paper for the Indian government saying that all the private data centers which are coming up should be allowed to come up with their own modular nuclear plants, which serve just that one. That all this transmission, this power loss that's happening, it's just meaningless. Because it's such a big consumer, you better have your own powerhouse there. It's just that we have to make this small nuclear plants safe. I think they are already pretty safe. Disposal of the waste, which is very small, it is getting refueled only once in 25 to 30 years, I believe. So it is one of the best things to do, because anything else, the alternative systems like solar, wind, these are very haphazard. It doesn't give a continuous power, then we'll end up doing massive battery systems, which is even more ecologically not good. So, that's one way, but doesn't matter whether temperature is going up or down, these things are going to happen because companies are moving into trillion-dollar sphere, all right? Nobody is going to stop. Only thing is how to make the best out of it rather than the worst out of it. That's all we have to see.
Well, one of the angles that I've been reading about is the comparison of energy efficiency between these AI systems and the human brain. The human brain is, functions like almost like as good a, ChatGPT as probably one of the earlier versions, but only uses 9 volts, I believe, whereas the current AI systems, they are into gigawatts of energy.
So from a better technology, we're going to a rudimentary technology.
Yes. So are there ways that the AI engineers, and this maybe John might know, are there ways the AI engineers can learn from the human brain as to construct better, more efficient systems?
You saw in my talk the superficial puppy cupcake example, but that is how they're trained. Everything is yes, no to them. It's not like a neuron that has multiple synapses and trains the weights. So these really are basic yes-no machines that are incredibly inefficient, because if you had to navigate life by yes, no, is it red, is it white? So they're very superficial, and again, the reason they use so much energy is they're stuck on the yes, no. So there would be a world where they're trained on yes, no, maybe we saw. If they could train on 3 things, we may get less hallucinations. So there could be a potential where we have to retrain them, but again, to their credit, these companies have spent billions of dollars training these initial models. It is not cheap, and there's lawsuits that they've stolen all of humanity's works on the internet to do this, so they've trained these things illegally. And again, we'll see how those settle out in the court. So the question is, how could one create a machine that's trained in a better way that's affordable, and as we said, that is done in a way that's beneficent for humanity and that can pay the bill?
The efforts are already on that people are building, large-scale brain modules, human brain kind of machines. The efforts are on. Particularly, I think in China, a lot is being done right now. I think it's still some distance. They may not come to 9 watts, but
two more questions from the audience, and then we'll go back.
Can you do one from the balcony?
Yes.
Hello? Oh, great, everyone's looking. Can I ask 2 quick things?
Yes.
So, Sadhguru, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, but I heard you say, AI should just run free. And so in the world where AI is limited to the human brain, it's still scary because bad actors can do some negative things that floods the database, if you will, with negativity. I can see that, but the question I have for you is, a human can access the universe, which is infinite and so much larger than what we now see AI doing, because AI is based on the human. So the bigger question is, do you believe that AI can then also develop the ability to access this field of seemingly endless possibility? That's my question. And I'm curious of all of you, if you might chime in on that.
I'm looking forward to a massive wave of AI because it's a tremendous possibility. My first, I don't know if there is time for this, but my first experience of a machine doing things is, I was just around maybe 11, 12 years of age, and we had never seen a calculator in our life. They brought a flatbed calculator, somebody, to the school. At that time, only Sony and Panasonic were available in India. Panasonic is 90 rupees, Sony is 120, very expensive, it was considered. If you have to buy this, you have to go to that underground basement shops, clandestinely you must buy it. Okay, you could be arrested for that because it was smuggled into the country. So somebody brought this and Then you say 18,630 multiplied by something took. I felt very insulted. When this thing can do this, why are they dragging me through this mathematics classes? Why can't they do this for every goddamn subject? So it took over 55 years, these guys are so slow. Over 55 years, now they're beginning to talk about it. I want to see it happens rapidly. Well, your problem is I will lose my job, I'll lose my livelihood. I think everybody should… See, this is something people ask me when I come to America, Sadhguru, what do you do for a living? I say, I breathe for a living. I'm saying, why are you spending your whole life trying to earn a living? That's become the standard in the world, unfortunately. It's an unfortunate human existence that people are spending their whole life trying to earn a living. So if AI really takes over quickly, there'll be some turmoil, churn, how to make policies, what to do. I think we must go through that and figure it out. Then there has to be some kind of universal income. So when this happens, in my estimate, about 40% will become total bums. They will sit in front of the television, watch soaps or play video games endlessly like that. Another 15–20% will become alcoholics and drugs. Another 8–10% will become first-class criminals. About 35–40% of the people will start doing phenomenal things because the problem or the pressure you have to earn your bread is not there. Human genius can unfold. I'm looking forward to the day that it happens in my lifetime because it's a great possibility. So when anybody as a parent wants to earn some money and create some security, what is the idea? That my child need not worry about bread. Let them do something that they really want to do, isn't it? Shouldn't that happen to a whole generation of people? That can only happen with AI. I want it to happen.
Hello.
Sadhguruji, what you say seems like a very scary prospect. Sure. So, do you see this as an inevitable outcome of human evolution in the years to come? You know,
See, now if all of us strive, we can… those 35–40% of the people who'll do phenomenal things, we need to increase that percentage. That's in our hands as humanity. Will we do it or not is a question mark. But that's in our hands to see that we increase that percentage where people will use this possibility, where I don't have to worry about my… See, there are a lot of rich kids, some of them do wonderfully well because their parents take care of everything, they will go and do great things. There are a whole lot of them will go down the ditch. It's the same thing. In what way is it different?
Yeah. So let me push you on on that point a little bit further. If, as your crystal ball suggests that…
I didn't say I'm looking at I'm looking at the people. I know each one what they will do if there is universal income.
Now, my question to you is, what might happen to the mental health of people if…
lot will go crazy. A lot.
What can humanity do now, today, to plan for that eventuality and prevent or reduce that likelihood, at least?
See, some survey says in 1866, in United States of America, people over 45 years of age, 50% of them did not have teeth. Because they all knew how to shoot, but they didn't know how to brush their teeth, nobody told them. So today everybody has teeth, whatever their age, not because of dental surgery, as he pointed out, it's because our mothers and fathers insisted, you got to brush your teeth. If you don't brush your teeth today, no breakfast for you. At a certain point they did that. Now once we realize what's the significance, we're just brushing our teeth. This needs to happen for your physical and mental health, that you must do this, this and this with yourself. A simple process of how to keep yourself mentally healthy must not be taught by gurus and organizations and whatever else. It must be taught at home to every child. See, somehow we managed toothbrush universal, right? Why can't we do that with simple meditation? That needs to happen.
It's a very, very important insight into the value or importance of early education in health hygiene, mental health hygiene, and these practices.
A culture of health needs to happen.
Yeah.
Now, what Sadhguru just said, it reminds me, Adi Shankaracharya, he made a very interesting comment in one of his commentaries on the Taittiriya Upanishad, responding to the possibility that suppose Brahman, the ultimate reality, is not there, there's no such thing. Then he makes a comment, then in our entire society, all the values that we are inculcating in society and the practices we are inculcating, they would become meaningless because we have designed our society for enlightenment, for the realization of Brahman. Brahma pratipatti artham tesham. So the meditation practices, the ethical values, the way of living, physical well-being, yoga, and he says the whole purpose was transcendence, the whole purpose was enlightenment. So it is, in fact, the rishis in India, they conceived of a society, I don't know how successfully, everything in nature tends to be a sort of a mixed result. But this, what Sadhguru is saying, people centuries, millennia ago did think of a possibility of a society which could be physically, mentally, emotionally, intellectually and spiritually healthy. It can be done again.
Yes, please.
Namaskaram Sadhguru, Namaskaram Swamiji. Thank you to all the panelists for such an incredibly insightful morning. My question is that through Isha practices, I've seen such a positive impact in my family life, work life, and I'm a cancer doctor. I take care of patients when they're most vulnerable and their families. And I have this earnest desire to bring miracle of mind or meditation, the culture of health, to the sickest of patients when they're the most critically ill and vulnerable. But how, as a professional, how best can I share this experience with them? Thank you.
Well, see, the word professional has become a very popular word. When you say you're professional, it means that you're doing it for a living, actually. But today it's understood as you are better than everybody else. I generally live among volunteers. They are not professionals, but I think that's the best group of people you can live with, because they are not doing anything for something else. They're doing something because they want to do that. So, taking away the word professional, you can also be a volunteer, which you are in some ways, because you're doing things willingly. You're not every moment thinking, what will I get out of it? You're doing work because you want to do it. That is, you're a volunteer. Volunteer means you're doing it willingly. So, most professionals also are volunteers in their day-to-day life. Here and there they become little overly professional, that is when they're nasty. So, how to bring this experience? See, there are many aspects to this. If you have probably been through the program, so you know. See, meditation is not an act, it's not something that you do. It's like a flower blossoms and there is fragrance. You don't want to water the plant, but you want fragrance, then you have to go to the shop. Some brands are there, all right? You can buy and spray yourself. Well, flowers' fragrance is very fragile. Only when it blossoms, it's there. But it's life. It's not chemical, it's just alive. The most important aspect of you and your patient is aliveness. They've come to you because they want to be alive, and you're tending to them because you're alive. That is the most important factor. So that aliveness has to happen if you cultivate your body, your mind, your emotion and your energy to a certain level of maturity. Meditativeness as a quality will happen. It's a quality that you acquire. It's not an act that you perform. So this quality has to come into everybody's life. Means there are many things, all those things we cannot do, but as an individual you can do. That inspiration you can give to that person. You can give them a taste of that with simple processes that we've already put out. And apart from that, depending on their inclination, they will pursue to whatever extent. See, do not misunderstand whatever your patients say when they're down. The moment they become up, they're different people after some time, okay? You know that. So, when people are down, they speak one language, when they come up, they speak another language. So when they're down, you have to treat them compassionately, you have to do your medical thing, whatever best you can do, that's about it. At the same time, inspire them. When they are up, they can do this and this. You can share with them, you can give access to them. That's about it, because in your profession, if you overly try to teach meditation on the table, it'll get ugly. It's like a school teacher trying to teach meditation. It'll get very ugly. If your school teacher insists you must meditate, probably you'll never meditate in your life.
Thank you. So that actually reminds me of a question I had written down, and this is probably Vikram can take this on. And you pointed out the fact that faith was a powerful ingredient in Zimbabwe as you were experiencing your time there and so forth. And you have written about and highlighted the value, in relation to what Sadhguru pointed out, that being professional is not necessarily the only thing. And you have written about task shifting and training large number of people who can take on the role of healing and so forth. And you've also talked about developing models of care, based on which mental health treatment can be delivered in large scale. So can you describe to the group your approaches to how one could bring in faith-related concepts into this kind of broad-scale mental health delivery? And Swamiji talked about protocolizing some of the principles from Advaita and other faith-based disciplines, which makes me, if you're using faith as a powerful tool, there is so much variability around the world of different faiths. Is there a way to identify common elements of multiple faiths that take on principles such as positivity and mindfulness and develop them as a scalable mental health delivery approach? It's a long question I'm asking. So.
I was trying to frame my response, and your question kept moving on. So I don't know whether what I'm going to say actually responds to anything that you've asked me. But it is a big question. But let me just say a little bit more about the kind of the value-based approach that I adopt, and it is this. I believe that there is wisdom in every community. And the task of medicine is to harness and empower that wisdom rather than to replace it with jargon. I think we are very good as a medical profession, and especially the psychiatric profession, to actually exclude everyone by using technical language that we could easily simplify. And so many of the things that we've heard today are not in the realm of the professional. They're in the realm of the everyday. And I think what we need to do is first of all acknowledge that there is tremendous wisdom in our people, in our cultures, in our communities, in our history. And our job is not to replace it, but to actually leverage it. And the idea of community health workers is not just my work. It's actually going back decades of work in India, in Africa, simply harnesses that wisdom in a way that can also leverage clinical medicine. And that's all it is. It's harnessing the power of communities to heal themselves to the task of actually improving access to healthcare. The second thing I wanted to say was the question of faith. You know, I don't think faith is only about faith in some other spiritual being. Faith in yourself. Faith in yourself that you have within you, through some unknown mechanism, the ability to heal yourself itself is a very powerful kind of faith. Keshavan, you know very well that in medicine, as I mentioned in my remarks, the placebo effect is one that we dismiss as something which is trivial or non-significant. I actually think it's probably the most powerful evolutionary mechanism that we are all blessed with that enable us to heal ourselves if we have faith in ourselves. And this is not to exclude the need for medical care when needed. It is to actually complement it in a way that is mutually reinforcing. So that's the second thing I wanted to say. And the third thing is that the whole notion of being able to support one another in the community relies on something which I think we vaguely touched on, but maybe not completely. And I'd like to hear Sadhguruji's and Swamiji's views on this, is that we are not as organisms designed to live in atomized ways. We are who we are because we have connections with people around us. Those connections could be kin connections, our family members, they can be neighborhood connections, they can be clan connections, they can be connections that we acquire because we share a common religion. I believe that we need to recognize that human well-being has to be seen within the context of the relationships we have with people around us. And as long as we deny that relationships are fundamental to human well-being, we will always focus only on the individual, whether it's an app or whether it's some other technique. And I think the way we harness the power of connections, of human relationships, is, I think, the real big question of our times. And I'd love to hear whether Sadhguruji agrees or what his perspective is on the importance of human relationships.
There is no need to emphasize that. It's the fundamental nature of human society. How a human child is born. We fall out of our mother's wombs and we can't just run away and become psychiatrists or gurus or sannyasis or whatever, all right? It takes just to figure out how to walk, how to eat, it takes nearly 18-20 years before we know what the hell is happening with us. So, this is the nature of a human being, that there is a nurture. As there is genetics, today we've always been saying this in the yogic system, in 24 hours we can rewire your brains completely if you allow it to happen. But today epigenetics, people are saying, whatever the genetics, you can override it with your epigenetics if you are willing to do it. Well, are you equipped to do it or not is another question, but if you're willing, it can be done. It's been done 1,000 times, or 1,000,000 times, there's no question about that. I can show you millions of people who have transformed their lives with simple practices, with very simple practices. So, mental health we're talking about. Why are we becoming mentally ill? The fundamental thing is this: there is a physiological activity, there is a psychological activity. Both of them are rooted in our body. I refuse to address brain as a separate activity. It is like body. More complex activities happening in many parts of the body compared to the brain, actually. There's more memory and intelligence in every cell in your body than your entire brain, because this carries the memory of millions of years. Whatever has happened, everything is here in this body, in every cell. And after all, your parents or our parents were very stingy people. They didn't give us 1,000,000 cells, they gave us one each. One goddamn cell, look at it how we become. Hello? So I'm saying, even your brains came out of that one cell, isn't it? Then, which is more complex? So there is a whole mental body, as there is a physical body, there is a mental body. So this mental issue, the way it is escalating right now, it's very easy to blame it on social media, AI, this and that. There are deeper things which People are speaking, very responsible scientists are speaking. Nobody has ear for that because that means you have to make fundamental changes in the world. Nobody will listen to that. It's always nice for whatever problems we have, she did it, all right? It's whatever problems we have, she did it, he did it. It's easy to do that. But fundamentally, there is one aspect which everybody is ignoring. Last 30 years we've been talking about it at various levels, we have made governments listen. But policy changes in democratic nations don't happen unless people make that noise. So one simple thing is this. See who we are on this planet. Right now the way we are sitting here, nearly 60% or more is actually microorganisms in this body. There are more microorganisms than your genetically produced cells in this body. But they are going away like anything. Where is the host for all these microorganisms? It's in the topsoil. What is topsoil? It is just an average of 18 to 20 inches of soil across the planet. In some places it's more, less, but it's around that much. This is the largest living system not on this planet, in the known universe, because trillions of species are functioning here and they are the ones who are producing life. We are also a consequence of that, incredible amount of life which makes us happen like this. Even the food that we digest, we cannot digest it by ourselves without their help. Today, everybody is talking about biome and stuff and I don't know what they're eating to get the biome all this happening. But on an average, 27,000 species, not numbers, 27,000 species of organisms are going extinct per year. So essentially, the strength in the soil, which is the source of our life, is weakening up. Like some studies show that in 1920, if you ate one orange, a California orange, what you got from that, today if you have to get that, you have to eat 8 oranges. Has there been a day when you ate 8 oranges? No, you will turn orange. we would know if you eat that many. So I'm saying this is the basic fabric of life is weakening. This I spoke 35 years ago, everybody thought I'm nuts, all right? They thought I need to go for a psychiatric evaluation. Right since I was 4.5 years of age, people have been thinking I need psychiatric evaluation. When I was 4.5 years of age, I realized I actually know nothing at all. Nothing means nothing at all. If you give me a glass of water, I'm staring at this because I don't know what is water. I know I can drink it, I know how to use it, but I don't know what it is. So I'm just staring at the water for a few hours. If I find a leaf, I'm staring for 6-7 hours. If I sit up in my bed, I'm just staring at the darkness the whole night. My dear father, being a physician, started thinking I need psychiatric evaluation. All along the way, different people have thought so. Because I said things well ahead of time. 35, 37 years ago, I said, as the soil weakens, first thing is people will start going crazy. Because the software is the first thing that collapses. In another 25 to 30 years, mental health will not be the problem, physical health will be the problem. Hardware will start collapsing. Many responsible scientists today are clearly saying, nobody is listening to them, these are genuine scientists. They are saying by 2045, 2050, it's going to be extremely hard to live on this planet. Extremely hard, it won't be a pleasant experience unless we fix a few basic things. But we are going around as if there's no tomorrow. So, I'm saying there is a price to these things, but the fundamental fabric of life, this body being what it is, which produces the brains, let's understand that. Brain didn't drop on us from somewhere. This body, if it has to be full-fledged, these many trillions of organisms have to function, otherwise it won't work. Where are they rooted? They are in the soil. When is the last time you ever touched soil? I'm sorry, I'm not commenting about ladies' fashion, but I call this high heel life. Not because of your shoes, because you're walking well above the earth. You will fall. See, idiotic things that we are doing, our children will pay. They're beginning to pay, yes or no? I'm saying, when children below 15 years of age are committing suicide, can't we understand we're doing something fundamentally wrong? Hello? Yes. A child who must be bursting with exuberance, when they're trying to take their own lives, don't we understand we are doing something fundamentally wrong? It's not one. When this is spreading across the world, even in a country like India, 7,200 children below 15 years of age committed suicide in 2023. Can you beat that? At 15, we were just excited to have landed on this planet. Now they want to take their life. So don't you think there's something, fundamental fabric is going wrong? It's very, very important that this needs to be attended to, because creating a healthy body and a healthy mind is individual business, it's also society's business. Connections are very important because it's like a bit of a crutch, because human being is born like this, without your mother loving you and holding you, all these things we wouldn't evolve properly. And that doesn't get over, for one person it may get over at 10, another 15, another 25, another needs even when they're 60. So when I say mother, they look for that comfort in their neighbor, in their friend, in their wife, in their husband, everywhere they look for that comfort. When we say mother, we mean an embrace, a comfort. That comfort a human being is largely looking, but one can grow beyond that if they're willing to work on that. See, he's sitting there, I'm here. One can easily grow beyond that, but not everybody is doing that. There was a time in India where 30% of the country's population were monks, by choice. That means a significant percentage of population took that way. It's not necessary one has to become a monk, can become in a society and still be free, isn't it? Very much possible. So, this is a bigger problem than just ChatGPT or social media. These are maybe kind of heightening it or showing it, becoming the source of expression for people. But this human software collapsing and hardware collapsing in another 25 to 40 years' time is an inevitable trajectory we have taken unless we do something serious. When I say something serious means really serious. I don't know, can I take a couple of minutes, sir? I've been talking about it, I have spoken to bureaucrats, I've spoken to ministers, I've spoken to heads of state in the last 30 years. I have told them this soil is a serious issue in your country, in your state, wherever I go. They all say, Sadhguru, this is fantastic, what you're saying is so important. And it looks like they use my talk as a pillow to go to sleep that night. Because none of them did anything, all right? Everybody says this is so important, but nobody does anything. So in 2020, I decided I will ride from London to southern India, 30,000 kilometers in 100 days. People thought, all our people here, they all thought, oh, Sadhguru is having fun on the motorcycle, fine. Then by 12th, 13th, 14th day, they saw I'm riding through snow, I'm riding through rain, I'm riding through sandstorms, riding 18 hours a day and doing… Overall, I did 692 events along the way in 100 days. So, then they knew this is a death wish, he's going to kill himself. Sadhguru, no, you must stop. I said, just idiot sitting at home, at least buzz. Just buzz. You're sitting with your stupid phone, you call it a smartphone because it's smarter than you. You get a little smart as to how to use it. And slowly they woke up like cicada, all right? In 100 days, 3.91 billion people supported the movement. So, no, don't clap, you must be ashamed. No, it's okay. I'm saying, somebody has to kill themselves for people to wake up. So, mental health, if we are really serious about it, first thing is, get out of your home, walk somewhere. A vacation means you sit in your bedroom and do this. Oh, my child, my teenage boy won't come out of the room. Arey, what were you doing when you were 6, 7, 8, huh? Hello? Suddenly when he's 15, you want him to bend him your way, he's not going to bend. It's your business to see they're connected with nature. You take them for a walk in the mountains or in the forest or make them swim in the lake. Oh, in America, if you swim in the lake, you may die. Arey, anywhere you can die. First of all, you may not live, that's the greatest danger. All right, I'm saying connect them with the earth because that is where our life is coming from. This is just a piece of the planet. Will you get it now or will you get it only from the maggots one day? This is the choice. If you get it now, in some way the young generation, please connect them with the planet. This is the simplest way to reasonably balance. There are other bigger things to be done, but the first and foremost thing is, you can't make them meditate, you can't make them do this, you can't fix the whole soil on the planet, you can't stop AI encroaching into your home, you can't do all these things, I'm telling you. One thing you can do is, you can hold your child's hand and walk, make them roll on the no, he's got allergy. Hey, let him have allergy, he has allergy to life. He's got allergy to life, he needs to be cured from that. This is important, I'm telling you, it's more important than you understand both for your child and you.
Thank you. Last point, yeah.
Sadhguru, could you please fill us in on the magic that Gramotsav, the most unique happening on the globe, has had an impact on the mental health, especially the mental health in the rural conditions, please?
Yes,
in the youth and the women as well.
I mean, that's a Indian phenomena in the sense in rural India, people, we need to understand this. A whole lot of people are living reasonably well with $5 a day, all right? It's something unimaginable here. Your coffee costs $5 probably. $5 a day, people are living reasonably okay. They're happier than you, most of them. But slowly, economics, because what used to be a kind of a community activity, which is what he tried to bring up, farming used to be a community activity. People got together and did it. But now it's not like that. Everybody's become a commercial farmer. For 2 acres, 3 acres, they put barbed wire fences, they got their own well, they got their own nonsense, they got their own little tractor, everything. So there is no community anymore. So both economically and physically, it's anyway agriculture is a back-breaking work. Now it's heartbreaking because market fluctuations, this, that happens, suicides, all kinds of rubbish. So there is a certain level of this thing and of course, this is a little difficult for you to understand here, but in India, alcohol consumption used to be extremely low. A fringe number of people used to drink alcohol 35, 40 years ago. If in our homes, in their family they drink, you should not go there. Like it's not the whole family is drinking, one guy is drinking. That was the standard. Today, if you don't have a drink in your house, nobody comes to your house. All right? It's gone up probably 25,000 times over. And the government is trying to sell it because one of the biggest revenue for the state governments is alcohol excise, so they're selling it and promoting it more and more. So, this alcohol is a new phenomena for the first generation in rural India. People have started drinking. Generally, fortunately, still I think over 90% or 95% of the women have stayed out of it. Drinking is essentially a male thing. Don't fight for equality on these things, okay? Fortunately, it's still a male thing. If a woman starts drinking at that economic level, the children will be ruined completely. So men are drinking, they don't know when to stop, they become drunkards, they fall here, there, these things are happening. Above all, there's no enthusiasm to get up in the morning and go to the farm. Because farming is that kind of activity, you must be up before the sun. But once you drink in the evening, you are ready for the moon, you know That's how it is. So this thing is breaking, and there are many other social issues, economic issues and stuff. So we started a movement called Gramotsavam, which is starting with simple games for men and women, because after 10 years of age, most girls have… rural women I'm talking about, not in the urban cities, of course girls play, but they've never played a game in their life. They never come out and play. After 10 years of age, they're whisked away for safety, and that's how it is. So now, this year, we just had one on September 21st, 63,462 participants, players, across 7 states. Of this, in over 35,000 villages, and out of this, I think more than 18,000–20,000 were women of all age groups. Some of them are over 70 and they're playing in the championship. So these league matches went on for 3 months and the finals happened. It's become a massive movement. Probably in a year or two, we will make it across the nation. But that's a very Indian thing, and that has broken many things. There are many people who are going through depressions and this and that. The exuberance of the game, just for the sake of playing the game, they fix themselves physically, mentally, everything, because they want to be there. And the game, rises everybody's spirit like that. So that's what she's referring to. That wouldn't be relevant everywhere. In India, it's a very relevant movement. Next year or maybe by 2028, we will have it in all the 28 states, involving millions of people.
Thank you very much, Sadhguruji. And in the last few minutes, you made the very powerful and learning point for all of us as to why this center is called Center for a Conscious Planet, the importance of taking care of our Earth Mother, so to speak. And I also want to thank all of you, Dr. Patel and Dr. Sarvapriyananda, Swamiji and Shirley and John. This was a wonderful, very insightful session, but I'm sure we're all hungry for the lunch now. See you all again soon. Thank you.